Well, if you needed another example of how craven our Congress has become to basically special interests and completely ignoring the will of the people, today was probably just as good as a day as any other. So we start off with this bill that came through the Senate, sailed through 96-3, denying the funds to actually close Guantanamo. Excerpts from the New York Times today. The vote, which complicates Mr. Obama's efforts to shutter the prison by the deadline of January 22nd, 2010, was 90 to 6. All Republicans unanimously voted in favor of cutting that money. The American people just don't want to see these men walking the streets of American neighborhoods, said Senator John Thune, Republican of South Dakota. The American people don't want these detainees held at a military base or federal prison in their backyard. In comes Harry Reid from the Democratic Party, Democratic leadership, and he chimes right in with Cheney's talking points, by the way, and it just can't get any better than this. The 6 Democrats who actually voted against the measure include some of the party's most prominent voices on military affairs and criminal justice issues, and I will mention those 6 at the end of this video. The vote was on an amendment to a $91.3 billion military spending bill that will finance future wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, as well as some other national security programs, including preparations for the pandemic flu through September the 30th of this year. The abrupt decision, the New York Times calls it, by Senate Democratic leaders to strip out the money for closing Guantanamo amounted to a strong rebuke of Obama's White House. Now, let me ask you this question right here. I've got a little crow sitting outside my window here. Let me ask you this question. Do you not think that Obama has consulted with leaders in both the House and the Senate before even proposing such a thing? No meetings have gone on of any kind, and Obama is not aware that most Democrats in his own party were going to vote against him? Please. I think I've been around politics long enough to basically let you make up your own mind on this one. Then this article goes on. Mr. Obama is scheduled to outline some of those plans in a speech on Thursday in Washington. Now, how come he didn't outline those plans before the actual vote? Yeah, that's what you call plausible deniability, I guess. And then Senator Reid, our brilliant Democratic leader in the Senate, goes on to say, Guantanamo, of course, makes us less safe. However, this is neither the time nor the bill to deal with this. This despite the fact that Harry Reid was complaining 2 years ago that the Democrats just didn't have the majority in the Senate to do anything about any kind of obstructionism regarding the other party and so on, when in fact they do have the votes to do that if they wanted to, some kind of leadership, I would call this. So you have this bill on the table that's supposed to fund your future wars, and then you just kind of strip other things out when you actually could make the bill entirely contingent on this. But hey, we have 2 war parties in Congress representing the people, basically. That's what it boils down to. And now, the New York Times says, now the administration has struggled with this issue, and it has come under attack from both the right and the left. You wonder why. Probably because Congress is not representing the will of the people. That's just a, slight little sideline here. And as far as these ridiculous statements go that Reid and other members of Congress have made, including Republicans, that people are very concerned regarding this transfer of detainees to American soil, that their constituents are in danger. It's like you have Mr. Terrorist living next door to you when they could be tried in a civil court, actually. Then, of course, that might become a problem if you don't have enough evidence against them, or if you can't use that evidence because it was obtained under torture, which, of course, was against U.S. law to begin with. Yeah, I would say we have a little problem here. And I'd like to also point you to Zach's video regarding this issue. I'll try to post a link to that as well. So these statements, you can't put them in prison unless you release them. Where is all this coming from? Anyway, that's my little commentary for tonight. My suggestion would be, if you're still affiliated with any major party here in the United States, it's probably a good time to put a very important item on your calendar for tomorrow morning. Call your local voters registration office and tell them that you are unregistering from the party that you are affiliated with and that you're re-registering as an independent. Everybody in the United States basically should do this at this point. People have had enough, and short of a major collapse going on here or something else, this is one way to make your voice heard. These people can no longer receive a free ride from us. And example after example after example. When will people just have enough of this? I don't know. But we're not being represented in Congress. And by the way, real quickly, these are the 6 that voted against this bill. In other words, wanted to have the funding to close Guantanamo. And by the way, this entire amendment, this bill, was sponsored by a Democrat. His name is Obey. Democrat, Obey. Apt name, I would say. So the people who actually stood up for civil rights were Jack Reed. These are all Democrats. Jack Reed, Rhode Island. Carl Levin, Minnesota. Jack Leahy in Vermont. Tom Harlan in Iowa. Richard Durbin in Illinois. And Sheldon Whitehouse in Rhode Island. That sums it up for tonight. Make your voices heard, people. Good night.